What's good, y'all? I am just getting to the gym, and today I'm going to be testing some jumps. So there's a checklist that's going to go into anytime you're doing any kind of max testing. The first thing you're going to want to know or confirm on your checklist is whether or not you're rested. So I took last week as a recovery week. I had lower training volume and much lower intensity, so that's all good. If you've been training a whole bunch leading up to any sort of test, don't expect to do well on the test. You might be able to get that linear progression, but it's always going to be best if you're rested beforehand. Second part of rest is going to be whether or not you slept well, which I did for once last night. Whether or not you are feeling nimble. So if your hips or lower extremities, because I'm going to be doing some jumping, are tight, you're going to want to incorporate that into your warm-up, which is going to be the last thing is, are you warmed up? So I'm going to go get into my warm-up, do a couple things to loosen up my hips, and then we will get into the jumping. I'm just going to address a condition I have, which is pelvic tilt. So some of you out there may have this where your pelvis kind of does this, and you kind of end up walking around like this sometimes with your butt sticking out. That is likely due to sometimes hereditary factors, sometimes hip impingements or things that are going on there, or it could be muscular tightness or weakness. Whatever it is, I'm going to show you 3 quick things that are going to help address this. These are not going to be fixes, so this is not something that you're going to be able to do and immediately, look at your posture and say like, oh, it's fixed forever, or a 30-day posture transformation. That's not what we're doing. I am just trying to loosen up my hips, make sure I can actually open my hips easily before I hit jumps, because as we know, when we're extending for a jump, you need to be able to open your hips. So if you take videos of yourself from the side and you hit a jump, and you notice when you're doing a jump that you don't actually quite get a hip extension, you can see some sort of hinge happening here still, and you're not actually getting all the way through, you could probably benefit from some of these things. Step 1 is nothing new. I'm going to take this lacrosse ball and I'm going to try to get in behind my glute. And the purpose of this is to loosen up the tissues there so that your joint capsule feels like it has more space. So where your femur inserts into your pelvis, just to feel like it's a bit looser, and we can get some more space in there to, again, make motions feel a little bit easier. Okay, once you have given yourself a nice butt massage, we are going to get into a stretch for that same area. So I'm trying to feel a stretch back here. I like using pigeon. I'm making sure that my shin is perpendicular to the rest of my body. Got my knee down. And I'm basically trying to push this hip down to the floor. At the same time, I'm going to slide this back knee back. And I'm also going to try to squeeze my butt so I can push down into the floor. Third and final step is going to be a direct hip flexor stretch. And for this, you're going to need to loop a band around a post. I'm going to then take that band, bring it up high on my hip. And I'm going to step back into a lunge here. And then I'm going to kind of let the band pull me forward at the hip. But the key for this one is I actually want to squeeze this glute. So I want to engage, tighten up that glute. is something that requires no equipment, is Polo Jumps. So a Polo Jump is where I do some quick jumps on the ground. I try to keep my legs stiff, and I try to pick my toes up. Now I'm not picking my toes up by bending at the hips, I'm just flexing my ankle, trying to pick my toes up as I jump. Looks like this. Does it look silly? Yes. Is it effective? Also yes. Once again, I got my custom-made flag up here. The stripes on the flag indicate 1-inch increments, and as I mentioned in a previous video, if I can touch the ceiling, it would be a 31-inch vertical for me. So every stripe down, I'm just minusing an inch from 31. Okay, jump number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is a 26-inch vertical. All right, that one was much better. So I think I am going to take my ladder and flip that up one. I realize you can't see from where you are because the stripes are actually on my side, but I just flipped it up one. It's taped up. So if I hit this one, it'll be a 27-inch vertical. Huh. 27. That was better than expected. I think, I'm gonna flip it up one more. I hate not being able to tell whether or not I'm close. You can kind of see like the flag just get the wind, but I have no idea if I was in front of it, behind it, right underneath it. All right, I had a really good hit on one of those takes, so I'll put that in the video next, and you can leave a comment. Let me know if you think it was 27 inches, 27.5 inches, 28 inches. All right, so this is everything you need to test correctly what your standing level pre is. So I have 2 movable blocks, and most important thing, actual measuring tape. A lot of people like to do this kind of thing, which is great just for, if you're going from gym to outside or spot to spot outside, you're trying to compare jumps and, give yourself that little bit of feedback to determine whether or not you can actually make the distance. If you're not sure with your eye test, you can do that step out test. That's all good. But if we're trying to get down to the last inch and actually measure improvement, use a measuring tape. Felt like my timing was a little bit off on the extension, so I think I can get that. Oh, that's a really bad landing, but I'll take it. Steak. I'm quite happy with that. Testified a bit on that one, but that's what happens when you max out. 9-10 sure was nice, huh? Right. Try that one more time. Yes. Yes. 9-10, so I'm 2 inches away from being back in the 10-foot club. Couldn't be more happy about that. That is a very precise set of weights. Doing my best not to let my ego get to me today. Just doing a micro dose of higher intensity weight today because on Friday I will be testing my 1-rep max for squats. So today's workout, as it is described in the strength block for week 5, day 1, is just 80% for 2 sets of 2. Whew, easy. Next, Nordic curls. Doing the Nordics a little bit different today. I'm actually trying to do the concentric rep. So instead of just doing the negative and then giving up and using my hands, I'm actually trying to pull myself up. I feel like I'm very close to getting it. So I don't know, I'm gonna try again on Friday. I don't know if I will get them on Friday, but for sure, like it feels like I'm only a few workouts away from being able to get at least one repetition. We're doing some leg raises in between sets while my hamstrings recover. Take long breaks on those ones. We're doing those negatives, and you need about 3, 4, maybe even 5 minutes to recover from sets of really intense negative contractions. I lost count. That's probably 10. Normally I would also have a quad exercise that I would do today, but on your testing week, any week that you're doing any sort of weight testing, jump testing, maybe you gotta go out and film a line, you shouldn't be training too hard. You should be trying to conserve some of that, maybe getting some micro doses of weights and jumps, but really conserving yourself so that you can perform well on whatever your test is. So these calf raises will be my last exercise for today. All right, that's it for me today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop me a like, leave me a comment, and if the weather sucks where you are, if your body hurts and you can't do parkour the way you want to, remember, you can always do push-ups at home, skater squats, whatever it's gotta be, you can get some work done so that you too can stay chiseled.